A lot of people believe that the only way to make money with XRP is to sell it when the price goes up. The truth is, though, that's the store trap. Those who are smart about money don't sell. They borrow money against their XRP, which is where the real leaving plan comes in. If you know how to use this, you'll understand why keeping and borrowing XRP could make you rich in the long run. This is not advice about money. Before we go any further, I want to quickly talk about something that will make your whole investing trip much more exciting. Find 100x Stocks, the ultimate millionaire investor guide I put together, is full of papers, images, videos, and other things you need to improve your plan for getting rich. The link is in the comment that is pinned below this video. That's the tool you need to find those life-changing 100x chances and speed up your way to becoming a millionaire. Let's start. A lot of people believe the game is easy. Wait for the pump to happen, then sell your XRP. In that case, the typical individual trader would act. But there's a catch. 3 things happen when you sell. First, you have to pay taxes, which take away some of your income right away. Second, you lose the product itself, which means that XRP will no longer help you in the long run. Third, you often feel bad about selling too soon. We've all been there, right? After you cashed out on a stock or cryptocurrency, it might have gone up another 2 or 3 times. It hurts to feel that sorrow. Because of this, the best investors don't sell unless they have to. They don't just see their XRP as something to trade, they also see it as something to use. That's where the plan to borrow money against XRP comes in. Take a look at it this way. Don't just look at XRP as a number on a chart. Treat it like an object that can be used to make money. You don't have to give up ownership in order to borrow money to pay for chances, cash flow, or even lifestyle costs. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have $10,000 worth of XRP. You don't have to sell it when you need cash. You can borrow against it instead. You can borrow between 30% and 50% of the value on many sites. You could get between $3,000 and $5,000 from that $10,000 in XRP. Here's what's great about this. It's not taxed when you borrow money against your crypto. The product is not being sold. You're just taking advantage of it. In other words, your XRP keeps getting worth more over time, and you also get cash that you can use. Some buyers put the money they borrowed back into businesses, digital assets, or even projects that make money on their own. Some people just use it as a safety net when they need cash quickly. The important thing is that you don't sell the XRP itself. That's how long-term wealth is made, by keeping, adding to, and borrowing money. The way this plan works might remind you of how rich families use 401k plans or whole life insurance. Because whole life insurance is so valuable, you can borrow against it and pay yourself back with interest that goes straight into your own account. The same thing is true for XRP. You borrow against your golden goose instead of giving it away. This way, you keep it growing and still have cash on hand when you need it. The best thing about this is that it gives you power. You could borrow money and use it to invest in digital businesses, grow your YouTube channel, start an e-commerce brand, or put money into a chance that grows faster than the interest you pay. That's how rich people play the game. They don't offer their best items for sale. They make use of them. Let's be honest for a second. How many times have you felt bad about selling too soon? There were times when I sold some tech stocks years ago because I thought it would be smart to lock in gains. After that, the price kept going up and I wished I had stayed put. When it comes to XRP, the long-term gain could be life-changing. It has the potential to completely change the way the world's finances work. That's not little. You should not think about the short term. Instead, you should plan for long-term growth. This leads to another big change in how we think. Wealth doesn't end at the pump. A lot of small sellers are only thinking about when prices will go up next. When there is a pump, they sell and spend the money they made on short-term things. They can't get rich because of that loop. Big ideas are what smart buyers do. They think about how to keep the object for many years, how to use it to make money, and how to ensure that they don't lose it. Let's say, for instance, that XRP goes through the roof in the next few years. You could borrow against it at a safe loan-to-value ratio. Instead of getting it out and having to pay big taxes, you might borrow 30%. That's a smart move that keeps you from having to deal with exit risk. Now, that money can be put toward another chance, such as buying assets that make money, growing a digital business, or investing in positions that are currently undervalued. Your XRP is still yours, still adding to your wealth and still growing. This is the long-term change I want you to think about. If you look at XRP, don't just see it as something you can trade. Think of it as a building block for your wealth. It's gone as soon as you sell it. But if you borrow against it in a smart way, you can keep the base strong while still getting cash. That's how you pass on wealth from one family to the next. Of course, this doesn't mean you should blindly join any site that lets you borrow money with cryptocurrency. Some places are dangerous and you don't want to put yourself in harm's way. I'm keeping a close eye on the space because better and safer goods are on the way. These ways to borrow money will look a lot more like regular banking tools as rules get stricter and fintech advances. As soon as that happens, you'll be able to use them wisely and safely. There are still sites that let you borrow money against crypto assets. The only thing you need to do is learn about the risks. But this is the most important thing. The idea is good. Rich people are already using similar methods with different types of assets. Crypto just brings it up to date and gives it even more room to grow. So the question is, how are you feeling? Do you only look at the short term, waiting for prices to rise and then selling as soon as you see a chance to make money? Or are you thinking about the long run and holding on to assets so you can use them to make more money in the future? That's the change that sets millionaires apart from normal investors. Once you know that selling is a mistake and that borrowing against XRP is a way to keep the asset safe while still getting value, you should think about how this fits into your overall plan for getting rich. Don't forget that the goal isn't just to keep XRP for years and hope something magical happens. You want to set up your wealth in a way that makes your assets always work for you. Now we'll talk about compounding, which is one of the most important rules for building wealth. In reality, compounding is what makes the difference between people who get lucky with trades and those who build wealth that lasts. With compounding, you don't just get rich one time, you build a system that keeps getting bigger and bigger over time. Now here's the catch. If you sell the product, you can't add to it. When you sell, the game starts over. Say you bought XRP for a low price, but now it's worth 5 times as much. Yes, you will make money if you sell, but that profit is now cash, and unless you reinvest it, it doesn't grow. Even worse, you'll have to pay taxes on the sell. That cuts your multiplying power in half right away. If you hold and borrow, on the other hand, you keep the object whole while still finding ways to make it worth more. Let's do something useful. Imagine that you have XRP in your wallet and you don't touch it. Instead, you borrow against it in a safe way. You now have money that you can use for other things. That could be real estate, which means rental income is lost. It could be a crypto or stock that is getting too cheap. You're not stuck, that's the point. You're not stuck in an attitude of buy now and wait forever. To play the game of compounding, you need to keep your base safe. Let's talk about a different point of view that many people miss. In times of trouble, liquidity, life comes up, which can be hard when you're saving. People lose their jobs, have crises, and have big bills appear out of nowhere. This is where most buyers get scared because they need cash quickly. What do? They make money. But if you sell at the wrong time, you could lose all of your money. If the market goes down, you might have to sell your assets, which means you lock in losses instead of gains. This problem can be fixed by borrowing against your XRP. It protects you. Instead of selling the thing you've been working on, you get short-term cash without giving up control. You can borrow money to cover your needs until you're back on your feet, even if you only need cash for a few months. Finally, when you repay the loan, your XRP is still there, ready to keep growing. That's how you keep your money safe instead of spending it. This is exactly why institutions and families with a lot of money love collateral-based tactics. They almost never sell what they're best at. They make use of them. They know that their wealth grows as long as the core stays strong. You can do the same thing with XRP. Let's go even further now. What if XRP is more than just an object you own? What if it's the basis for a legacy? Imagine thinking about what you can leave behind for your children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren. If you sell your XRP to make quick money, that money will be gone in a generation. But if you hold and borrow, the asset stays the same and your returns can keep growing for decades. That's where real wealth is found that lasts for generations. Take a look at it this way. If you buy XRP, don't use it for anything else. Don't touch it like money. That makes you think about building wealth and keeping it safe instead of spending money quickly. You can borrow against it later if you need cash. However, do not cash it out unless you have to. You'll start to think like an owner instead of a small trader after doing that. I'd like to talk about something important now. Take care of risks, because this plan is strong, but you have to be smart to make it work. The biggest risk of getting crypto is losing all of your crypto. If the price of XRP drops and you borrowed too much, you could lose all of your money. You don't want the site to take your XRP to pay back the loan. How to solve it? Keep things simple. Never borrow more than the home is worth. Don't borrow the full 50% if the site only lets you borrow up to that much. Take 20% or 30%. That way, even if the price of XRP goes down, you're still not close to selling all of your coins. Rich people use the same idea when they take out margin loans and collateralized loans in the stock market. They make sure there is a lot of safety. It has to do with discipline, because you'll lose the thing you were trying to protect if you borrow too much and the market goes against you. Protect first, borrow second is the way to think here. Before you think about using force, make sure the base can't be moved. Now let's take a step back and look at why XRP is such a good choice for this approach. XRP isn't just another coin. It was made to be useful. The way money moves between countries, how financial institutions settle deals, and how cash flows through the global system will all be changed by this. That's not a lie. That's the building blocks, and plays in infrastructure build wealth over time. What makes things truly valuable are almost always things that are useful. Think about how oil was used in the early 1900s. Thought about the web in the late 1990s. Right now, think about AI. These aren't just fashions. They're the basis for whole businesses. In the world of money, XRP has the same kind of promise. That's why it makes sense to keep it for a long time. This is why it's a trap to sell too soon. Now think about how that would work with the borrowing plan. You are not just waiting with XRP. You are constantly using it to make more money, and the value of the asset grows over time. That's two ways to get rich. Let's make up a story. Let's say you have $50,000 worth of XRP. It goes up in value over the next few years and is now worth $150,000. You don't sell it. Instead, you borrow 30% against it, which gives you $45,000. With that $45,000, you buy a house that brings in $500 a month in rent. That property earns you money and increases in value over time. Your XRP is still safe, and it might be worth even more in the future. This is how lots of money grows. You didn't sell. Instead, you borrowed money, and now you have more than one thing working for you. This is what rich people think. They do not see assets as things that can be sold. They see them as the bases on which to build countries. You can think the same way about XRP too. Diversification is something else to think about. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, even though XRP can be a strong base. That's why it's smart to borrow money against XRP. You can add other items to your portfolio without selling. If you think XRP will be valuable in the long run, you should keep it. You spread your money around in other ways that protect you from risk, though. That way you can keep building on more than one front, even if something happens in one area. Like this, traders who only look at the short term can become long-term wealth builders. And it all starts with a choice. Do not sell too soon. Keep the item safe. Use it to borrow money when you need to. Use that to your advantage to open up new possibilities. In the background, let XRP keep adding value. That's the best way to get better at the game. So the next time you see XRP going up and want to sell, take a moment to remember this. Selling is what stores do wrong. Keep, use, and add to your money is the real game. That's how people get rich. For all time, not just for a season. Your whole point of view changes when you see XRP as more than just a trade. You stop trying to find the next big thing and stop living in the stressful cycle of buy, sell, and regret. Instead, you understand that the real opportunity is to set yourself up like the rich. Rich people also don't sell their most valuable things. They take care of them, use them to make money, and defend them. This change isn't just bits and pieces on a graph. It's a change of mind. Dopamine is what most small buyers are hooked on. Quick money, quick flips, and moves based on hype. But to really be wealthy, you need to be patient, plan ahead, and be disciplined. When you think about XRP in these three ways, you start to see it as an important item in your portfolio, not just a way to speculate. Let's go over the steps again, but let's think about something even bigger this time. When you hold XRP, you can easily borrow money against it, and you can then use that cash to make money. That money will then pay off your loan and interest, and it might even grow after that. Now that you haven't touched your XRP, it is growing, and your new investment is making money. You've pretty much made a loop. Assets that make more assets. That's the wheel of wealth. It's crazy that most people never even get to this point. They stop at the way of thinking about trade. They wait, buy, sell, and do it all over again. They don't understand why they can't get away. Since they never learn how to make their assets work for them, they end up having to sell them. You will never see XRP or any other long-term asset the same way again after you learn this. Next, think about what financial goods will be available in the future. You can borrow against crypto right now, but it's still early. Platforms have their limits. You'll face bigger risks than in regular banking. But think about what will happen when crypto rules are fully enforced and banks and fintech companies fully enter the crypto area. All of a sudden, borrowing against XRP might look a lot like borrowing against your stocks or your home's value. Terms that are safer, goods that are cleaner, and less risk of being over-collateralized. That is what the future will be like. People who know the plan ahead of time will be miles ahead. Think about it. A few years from now, your XRP will be in a safe, regulated medium. You log in, ask for a collateralized loan, and within hours, you have cash in your bank account. You didn't have to sell your XRP, pay taxes, or risk going bankrupt unless you have way too much debt. At that point, this won't even seem new. It is going to feel normal. They will have a huge edge over those who got there first. This is why I'm so stressed out. Do not see XRP as a quick way to make money. Think of it as the building blocks for your money. It is being rebuilt, and XRP is one of the tools that is helping with that. You're not just taking part in the system when you hold, leverage, and increase it. You're using it the right way. Let's talk about how we live now. Because being wealthy is more than just having money in the bank. It has to do with freedom. It's all about choices. It means being able to live the life you want without having to depend on a job or sell your future to pay for things you need right now. You get to choose your own living when you properly organize your assets. Take the case of having built up a strong XRP position. When you need cash, you don't sell it. Instead, you borrow against it and use the money to pay for something important. You can save for a business you've always wanted, a house you've always wanted to buy, or even fun things you want to do without risking your future wealth. That's lifestyle by choice, not lifestyle by default. This is the main difference between people who have trouble and people who do well. People who are having a hard time are always selling the things that could set them free. People who are successful are always looking for smart ways to use debt to keep their wealth and make their assets grow. You should still be smart, though. Don't take out unsafe loans. Don't think of borrowed money as free money. Don't use it as a crutch. Use it as a tool. Rich people know how to use advantage. They know how to use it well. XRP is more than just a bet on speculation when you use the same discipline. It becomes a key part of your machine for making money. Let's look into it more. History. You see that this isn't just about what XRP can do for you right now when you think about other people. It has to do with what it can mean for your family tomorrow. Your XRP could become part of a basis that lasts for generations if you hold on to it and use it. Think about leaving behind something that is valuable and useful in a global banking system. It's not just money, that's a gift. But there's a catch. That will only happen if you don't sell at every pump. The pumps are just for now. The wealth will always be there. You can build a system that will last longer than you if you can ignore the noise, use leverage wisely, and add other assets to it. The best part is that this doesn't just work for XRP. You can use the same structure for other strong assets as well. Things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even some stocks. The principle applies to everyone. Do not sell the golden goose. Make use of it as security. Keep it whole. Allow it to build up. You can borrow against it to get cash, make more things. Say it again. Think about how your life is different from the average traders if you use that approach. Many traders feel worried because they constantly look at charts and wait for the next pump. They also often feel bad about the decisions they made. You are calm, patient, and smart. Your possessions are making you money. While other people chase hype, you're building wealth. It pays off in the long run in ways that short-term turns can't. That's why I think the future will belong to people who know how to use power correctly. They will be the ones who do best as the financial world changes and crypto is more fully integrated into banks and global systems. This is because they know how to borrow against their assets without losing them. They will be able to get cash, their money will grow over time, and they will leave a legacy. They will do all of this without ever having to give up the things that made them rich. Here's what you should remember. You could make quick money by selling XLP, but that would also end the game. You'll always be in the game if you borrow against it. You can get worth without giving up ownership. It lets you build wealth over many years. You can make your own choices and live the life you want without putting your future at risk. That is the plan. That's how they think. That's the right way to go. Now's the time to change your short-term thinking. If you're still waiting for pumps and following the hype, you can quickly change from a market trader to a real investor if you change the way you think. A new era of money is starting. People who know about leverage, growth, and keeping their assets safe will do very well. If you use it right, an XRP can be one of the most useful tools on that path. I've put everything I know about how to become a millionaire into the Ultimate Millionaire Investor Guide, Find 100x Stocks, if you want to learn even more.